The following program is presented for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are the views of the hosts and the host alone. The information or statements here are not known fact.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Hardcore Truth. Today we're talking about aliens, and I am joined always by your host, the lovely Miss Gina. Tell me about aliens. You know, nice teeth, by the way. They're all white and pretty.
Are they real? Yeah, aliens. Yeah. Are they real? Are we alone? Are we being visited by them? Conspiracies go round and round. I mean, wasn't it just during the pandemic that the Pentagon came out with like 3 different videos or something from Navy pilots that had saw different lights and crafts that were seen to dart in and out and like kind of make moves that were kind of unexplained.
Now, I'm going to say it, and I mean, basically, and I don't know the exact quote, but to quote the great Kurt Russell when he was playing Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China, he even says at one point when he's on the CB, and I want everybody to think about this, if you think that we're all alone in this universe, there's something wrong with you. I mean, we can't. I mean, the way I look at it in the grand scheme of the galaxy and the universe, we're probably the dumbest motherfuckers out there because these aliens are flying around. We can't do shit. We just built drones. Yeah. There's got to be more than one of us out. I don't care if you believe in the Big Bang, if you believe in God. We can't be the only thing out there.
No, I don't think we're the only things out there. I mean, honestly, even on this planet, I mean, there's areas that have not even been explored. We've got no-fly zones. We've got, different conspiracies around Antarctica, and are they keeping different kind of life there? I mean, look at the hieroglyphics. Look at the different things that have been in like the Egyptian ruins, or even in the Mayan ruins, just in different places all over the world, where they kind of depict these alien-looking creatures or spacecrafts, and where it looks like that's what they're trying to portray, in their hieroglyphics. So they've been here. They're either still here. I don't think we're alone.
No, there's no way we can be, but the one thing I'll say, and to quote Will Smith, not that I'm a fan, but if you watch Independence Day, which is the one that really kind of kickstarted that late 90s trend of alien like stuff, when he goes, I don't think they've flown 9 billion miles to start a fight. I don't think so either. Like, I don't think every alien is like ready to kill us. Like, I'm a child of the 80s, so V is my jam, but I don't think aliens are out to kill us. I think I don't even know if they're out to study us, but I mean, they're clearly out there. At least that's what I believe, just like you. Excuse me. Now,
what about those lizards?
now that's some horse shit. Now, I work with the guy, and I mentioned this guy before. Aliens are demons, and they come and they mutilate your genitalia so you're against Jeebus, and then they suck the blood out of cows and cut off the genitalia. So he's very fascinated with genitalia. I don't think they're doing that, like crop circles and all that. I mean, I'm sorry, but if I drove my car, I drive a Jeep. If I drove it into a crop circle and made a circle, it's going to make a circle. I mean, of course, if you land it, I don't think every UFO is like some fucking circle thing, and I don't believe they're all gray and everything, but I know there's some people that think they're like microorganisms and everything, but I don't know. I don't think they're all like wanting to kill you. I don't think they're all hateful people. I mean, do you?
No. If anything, they were here before we were, and they could still be, among us, or actually part of us. I don't know if you ever heard that conspiracy, or I guess it's kind of a theory. And they're the different blood types that we have. We've got this Rh negative blood type. For the longest time, they kept saying it came from the rhesus monkey. So that's where this Rh negative came from. But then there's some theories coming behind that they're saying, no, they think it's coming from some type of, alien that or something that's not human, that's either been, bred with humans or is somehow integrated. But it's funny because the women who have this Rh factor, if they're pregnant and they have a child without having this shot before they have the baby, or either right after they have the baby or something like that, it rejects the baby and it thinks it's something foreign. So I have that Rh negative factor. So I had to have those shots for each one of my pregnancy, and my mother did too. It's something to do with your body thinking it's something foreign, and fights it with that Rh negative. But I guess, there's been some things that said that it's in part alien. Do I believe it or not? I don't know, but it is awfully odd.
Right. I want to say one thing. If your mom is watching, but the thing with the aliens and everything is, it seems to go in factors. Like, I mean, it's been since the 50s with Roswell, New Mexico, which was, that theory got popular again in Independence Day when God, what's his name? He played Jeff Goldblum's dad, Judd Hirsch, when he was like, you know about the aliens, and when they crashed Mexico and all that. And then he's like, yeah, well, no, that's a tabloids. Well, that's not true. Because that was slick the way they did that. But I really do believe, because I mean, if five people say something, it's a high school rumor in the bathroom. Thousands of people say something, okay, there might be some risk to this. Do I think Area 51 is a big madhouse for aliens? I don't know. It might be. Probably not. They probably just make things there. But do I believe aliens crash landed in Mexico? Sure. I mean, I really do. And that's not from the movies or the sci-fi novels or everything. But I mean, you gotta. I mean, let's think about this. And I don't want to sound crude, but if I was to try to date, let's say, your daughter, before I do it, because I'm one of those guys, I'm going to check you out. I'm going to check your daughter's friends. I guess scope out the circumstances. So if you're an alien, I got to come down here. I got to see, can I breathe here? Can I walk here? What are these people like? Are they psychotics? Yes, we are. And to think that it crashed, especially coming into gravitation and everything. Yeah, I 100% do believe that. And if you don't believe us, they fucking, a year ago, released all the information that UFOs were real. It was all documented. I mean, was it back to Obama? Didn't he actually put that out there, didn't he? That it was real.
Yeah. I think there was some stuff that was released that was real. Yeah. Are they crashing? Are they coming in from outer space, or are they coming from other parts of the world that we just don't know that they are? I mean, we have caves in different areas, and like the Grand Canyon, there's a lot of places you can't visit. They have armed, like, military in places that they will not let you visit in parts of the Grand Canyon. I don't think it has anything to do with safety. There's hieroglyphics that have been found. There's all different kinds of things that have been found. We have no idea. We could literally have something, living in states like that have caves and whatnot. You have no idea. It's just the unknown. And when they tell you can't fly over this area, or you can't, look in this area, or, why are they heavily arming some of these parks and recreation areas that, I mean, what's the big secret? What are you hiding?
What? And here's what I think I look like. They always say their technology is so much higher than us. It's so much better than us. That would explain a lot. Where did and I know there's a natural evolution of things, but you mean to tell me all at once we went from these shit VHS tapes, now we got CDs, we had DVDs.
Yeah.
TVs became these big, remember those CRTVs, these monstrous things?
Yeah.
They're this big. I'm not saying we're not smart enough to develop it, but technology comes from somewhere. I am not a believer of the moon landing, but I mean, everything comes from somewhere. When it comes from like this case of we keep making these more and more advanced. Oh, we got a new bomber plane, and the radar doesn't pick it up. How'd you create all that? Where
Yeah,
are you studying this from? You don't. I mean, I have like weird fucking dreams, but they're of like starting horror movie conventions and that. They're not of like I don't hit my head and get the flex capacitor. I don't think of things to okay, if we do this, and this, we can do this. I mean, that's not
yeah,
possible. It's either implanted or it's a technology that's you found and you incorporated it with what we have.
yeah. I think a lot of technology has already been here. I just think that either when it was found or when it was agreed to be released, that it's released slowly. Because I don't think that we could handle a 0 to 60. I mean, if we went back to, early 1800s, before we had telephones and different things like that, could you imagine if they had that technology? Let's just say, just like the iPhone, if you just walked up to somebody, showed them an iPhone, showed them a video of, you videoing them and then showing them on video, I mean, people would freak out. They would think you're a witch. They would, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we've had instances where people knew how to cure certain things or knew how to, or maybe they had a little bit of a premonitions of different things, and they would burn them at the stake like they were a witch, right?
Well,
So
and think
I
about the
just think,
military. Like,
yeah,
and I'm getting mad. That's what I'm saying. It's like the military is always like, we've got this. Now they're releasing it. We've got this footage of the UFOs. Okay, I don't have anything. Okay, so you mean to tell me some fucking guy, pardon me, on a plane is like got the whole VHS camera? Yeah, I'm recording the footage. Obviously, no, that's crystal clear 4K footage. It's go back. This is the 70s, 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And they're recording stuff that's clearer than what you and I record on our phones.
hmm,
Where'd that come from?
yeah,
I mean, I can take better pictures with my phone, and I plan when I go on vacation to use my phone. You can take better pictures on your phone than you can with a fucking camera. Nobody was on there with one of them big monstrosities. I gotta record the alien from the cockpit. No, it's technology that we got from somewhere else.
yeah, yeah. I think that I feel like the technology has already been here. They're just figuring it out. Either they've been dissecting it and figuring it out, or they know all about it and they're just releasing it slowly. It just seems like way too much has progressed in such a short time. Just 100 years. Look what has happened in 100 years, from you know telephones to um video to, I mean, we had black and white TV when I was growing up. I remember when we still had black and white TV in our
Rabbit
in
ears. Remember the rabbit ears so you could watch the
yes, we
UHF
had a
channels
black
and
and
all that?
we did have a color, but I remember we still had a black and white TV that we rolled around on this little cart. My brother and I shared it,
Yeah.
from room to room. And then then you have color TV. Everything's color TV, and then we go from no remotes to remotes, and then um when I really seriously sit and think about it, and I know everybody thinks I'm crazy because I'm conspiracy on everything, but when I sit and really think about how we can send a photograph or a video in seconds to somebody who is on the other side of the world, it seems very creepy. If you really think about it, it's like how are they able to do this? I mean, it's super creepy. I understand people are like, oh well, technology, blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying, if you really think about it, it is creepy. It's definitely technology that, to me, that didn't just evolve in the last 100 years. How many thousands and thousands and thousands of years have people been on this earth? And you tell me that everything's popped up in in 100 years.
Now, I think the one thing you and I disagree with are the pyramids. I really think those were built by, I'm sorry, baby Froggy. You can't see him, you see his mouth. I really think the pyramids are built by some guy going, move, like the elephant man, get over in the corner and all that. And the guy carrying the stuff up the thing. That's the one thing. A lot of people do think the pyramids came from aliens because they're like, how do you move, 55,000-pound rocks? I mean, that's pretty hard unless you get a whole bunch of low rent guys to move it. But I that's where it kind of started, going. And like you said, the hieroglyphics, there's the drawings of, and everything looks like a drone, like a big circle, flying saucer. That's what I want to say. Thank you. Now,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. And I want to say that, well, no, I'll say the second. One of the things that hit it big was I think it happened in the 80s, but the movie came out in the 90s. It's called Fire in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the true story of, hey, you get to see my beautiful green eyes, man. No, you don't have to see him. Starred that awesome T-2000 Terminator, Robert Patrick, but he wasn't the main guy. It's a true story of Travis Walton, who
Travis Walton.
you watch the movie, he goes out and there's this light, and they're like loggers, and he goes, "What's that?" And the light hits him, and he falls down, and he's going, and all at once, boom, he's gone. 5 days later, he comes back. Now, before I go any further, great fucking movie, by the way. I highly recommend.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Great
Yeah.
movie. What now? Do you think that's real?
Do I think it's real? Absolutely. I think it's real. I watched a documentary on Travis Walton, the 6 guys that were part of that logging crew, and the foreman that was actually the one that when they were driving, they saw that light coming through kind of the forest, weren't quite sure what it was. He was like, I didn't know, it seemed like headlights or something, facing a certain way, but there was just no way it could have been in that area and shining like it did. So they kind of followed the light down. And that's when they said that they saw, what looked to be like a very shiny, aircraft with this light coming down. And Travis jumped out of the truck like he was like excited to go see what it was, like not thinking, just jumped out, and they're like, come back. And so evidently the light hit him and kind of levitated his body, almost like like a very like ragdoll like. And I don't know if it like threw him to the ground or did something. It freaked them all out. They left. The foreman's like, oh my God, no, we got to go back. So they went back, and he wasn't there. So they went to the sheriff and said, hey, this sounds really crazy, but we saw this light and we followed it, and now Travis is gone. It's taken him, we think. And they seriously thought that those guys had some type of altercation in the woods, got into a fight, and they were all covering up the fact that they killed him. Like, maybe got into a fist fight, he fell on a saw, whatever, buried him out there somewhere. That's what they thought. So they didn't believe him, at first. They thought, oh, they're just covering this up. So they kind of split the guys up and did some interviews, and asked them all, separately what was going on. They all had the same story. They then ended up bringing in a polygraph tech to come in and, polygraph these guys. They all passed the polygraph. They were all like, no, this, and there was like 4 or 5 direct questions that were asked, and they all passed. They all passed with like a 95%. Like there was no question. Now, when Travis was let go and he managed to see some light, I guess he was left on the road or something when he came to this telephone booth, and he called his brother and said, I need you to come get me. And his brother thought it was a joke. Who is this? Who's messing with me? Travis is gone. And he's like, no, it's me. You got to come get me. So came to the phone booth, got him. And I guess he was just like shaken, really shook up. Um, you know, I think he said he actually like either carried him almost like a baby. He was just like just sobbing. He was a mess. So he, for I think a short bit, did not want to and was advised not to do the polygraph test because he was in that kind of post-traumatic stress syndrome where he didn't want to believe what happened. So therefore it might not have come out correctly. But they ended up doing hypnosis on him sometime a little bit later and found out, you know, different things. So he only remembered about 2 hours of the 5 days. If they could patch this all together, only about 2 hours of events that he could remember from the 5 days. But he was under hypnosis, did that, and then him and his brothers took polygraphs and they all passed them. So to me, I believe it. I believe what happened. Just because you can't have 6 people have the same story and pass the polygraph test. It doesn't happen like that. Somebody's going to waver. Somebody's not going to have been, you know, on board with it or been too nervous or whatnot. I just don't think you could get all those people to take a polygraph test and they're all the same.
No, I believe him too, but what I really think happened, and it's kind of like in the case of what I'd like to talk about in the Sons of Sam episode that I hope we get to do. Back then, if you called the New York Times, Los Angeles, hey, UFOs kidnapped me, fuck you. So you've got to go to the National Enquirer. You've got to go to the Weekly World News. You've got to go to this. You know, if you're going to do talk shows, I got to go on. And I'm showing my age. You got to go to not necessarily the Springer, but you got to go to the Geraldo, the Montana.
Sally, Jesse Raphael.
Yeah, you've got to do all these daytime things. And so by automatically, if I tell the National Enquirer, hey, I was kidnapped by aliens, this ain't Men in Black where he goes, it's the real news right there. No, you're a fucking idiot. You're laughing stock. So real news stories at the time were not going to pick this up. So he was going to be picked up by tabloids, syndicated talk shows. I do believe it's true, but I think that's what hurt it was simply because at the time, there was no internet. There was no World Wide Web. You had to go to these certain things. And if you went to these things, whether you want to hear it or not, you were a crackpot. You were nuts.
Yeah,
it was. And that's the only thing you could go to. Now, I mean, the guy did write a book. He got a movie. He did okay, but it was spoofed. It was made fun of. Do you remember? I'm gonna hit you with one. I didn't tell you some minutes. Remember the show Soap?
Yes, I do remember it. Mm-hmm.
Bert got kidnapped by the great late Richard Mulligan. He got kidnapped by aliens, and they did it the same way. He's driving in his trunk, and the light hits, and he's up. Now he's got to go through time so he can get back to his wife. It was made fun of. You know, it was spoofed, and and I love Soap. But that's exactly what it was. It was a spoof of Fire and Sky. Fire and Sky wasn't even made yet. I think that came out in late 90s.
It was like 93. Yeah, it was like 1993. Well, I mean, it happened, I think, in was it like
1975? It actually happened. Yeah.
So, and Soap was out in the late 70s.
70s, 80s. Yeah, because I was a little kid watching it.
I mean, it did make news because they did have different UFO researchers. I know they had like probably the Inquirer or any of those kind of that were out there, but there were national news sources that were talking about it. But yeah, it was kind of discredited because they gave a lot of interviews, I think, to some of the tabloid type ones that would listen, I guess. But I don't know. I believe it. I believe you just can't get that many people to pass a polygraph. You'd have to have a whole crew of people that could pull that off. And I just don't think that.
To my knowledge, the only guy that can beat the polygraph is the great Steven Seagal. And finding 6 Steven Seagals are impossible. But if you really look at everything involved, that's what makes it so strange, because everybody just says, well, you were on this show, you were nuts. No, the real Dan Rather ain't talking to you. Montel Williams, he's talking to your ass. Sally Jesse's talking to your ass. I mean, that's how it worked. I mean, it was called trash TV. You know, got that Morton Downey Jr. Remember, I love my Morton Downey Jr., but that's the kind of shit you had on there. Was it a lie? 9 times out of 10, probably not. That's all you could get.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, if 6 people, I get if you rob a bank, you might have corroborated the same story. 6 people taking a polygraph test at 6 different times and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not possible.
Yeah. It's not. But yeah, that was they really did a good job with the movie too. It's one of my favorite movies.
Now, I think
If
one
you
thing
haven't
that
seen it, Fire in the Sky, you've got to see it. It's a great movie.
available from Shout Factory on their Scream Factory label, who sent it to me, or you can stream it on Amazon.com. One of the things I think also hurt is over the years they started doing and UFO conventions for people that were kidnapped by aliens. And unfortunately, 90% of those people are fucking wackadoos. And I'm a big fan of Penn and Teller. Love Penn and Teller, the magicians, you know. They did a show called Bullshit. And they went and they took Benoit balls. Ladies, if you don't have Benoit balls, check them out. Anyway, they took Benoit balls and they spray painted this sumbitch in like glow in the dark green. And they go to one of these UFO abduction things. They're like, and all the people are like, "Oh, the aliens, they stuck things in my butt and they did sex experiments and they're pulling out these Benoit balls." Sorry, I actually have some. I just don't have any on display. And they're like, "Are these what the aliens put in your rectum?" And they're like, "Yes." So now, and that's going to discredit you right away. But let's also look at the simple fact: if I'm a news guy and I interview 50 people and 49 of them are sharp and they're talented, they make sense, I'm taking the dumb fuck and I'm putting him on because it's funnier, you know. So, but
It
then
is.
people like, that's what they put in my vagina and all that, you know. And it was like, and it's funny. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really funny, but I believe aliens probably did experiments on us. And I mean, and I'll go as far as to say, like the movie Independence Day when Randy Quaid is like, when they're talking about they did butt stuff on him and all that. I mean, if I'm gonna come to your planet, I gotta see what you are. Now, I don't think they did. I don't think they were like raping you like the show Oz or anything or hurting you, but I mean, I think they drew blood. I think they obviously did some tests. You know, is our body, can our body breathe your atmosphere?
Yeah.
Are we fragile? You know, I do think things like that have happened. I mean, I really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose if they're looking at our body parts, they're probably doing the rectal exam because they're trying to figure out which end you eat out of, which
Well,
end.
yeah, it's now I'm gonna hit you with a good one. Do you remember? And now when I got to mention the doofus, I know he thinks alien people are reptiles, and he's one of these right wing Christians. So aliens are against Jesus. They're demons. They don't have genitalia. Guy's obsessed with genitalia. Do you remember the show? And one of my favorite shows is V. When I had
Mhm.
COVID, I actually put on V so I could watch one, two, three, four. You know, I sit there for 9 hours and watch. It was when I was recovering, and the aliens came, and they said we got the cure for cancer. I believe they do. I believe we do too. They got the cure for all this, and we're your friends. We love you. It was very symbolistic of like the Third Reich and everything. But they were really reptiles. They ate rats. They were here to steal our water and take the people back for food. I truly believe, once again, I got to go by not all aliens are bad people, but let's think about it. It makes sense. I don't think aliens are really reptiles, but I mean, how the fuck do I know? But once again, they came here, they had the advanced technology, they're going to help us. In return, we're going to do this. Now, of course, it's TV, you got to fuck us over, but in the real world, what's to say an alien wouldn't come down and say, look, I'm going to cure cancer and I'm going to cure AIDS, I'm going to do this, and in return, you got to give me 50 cows.
Yeah.
What's so hard to believe? What is so hard to believe about that?
Yeah. I you know, I heard a conspiracy that, you know, we have so many like missing people, that the trade was for technology for people. So, I mean, could it be? You know, I don't know, but that's just like one theory that I've heard, or conspiracy theory that I heard, that um somehow the government is trading people for technology. And I was like,
Did
that is
you watch
just
American Horror Story?
I have, yeah.
Do you remember 2 seasons ago when they did the split? Like one half was they took the pills and they could be like really great writers, and the other half was like all the aliens. And when they blink, I can't do it by any means. They blink, but they blink sideways, and they were like Area 51, and here's was it Roosevelt or Truman? I can't remember, and all that. How do we know? I mean, when if five people, if one guy stands on the corner and it's like those guys you'd see like because we're children of the 80s, the world is near and all. Okay, you're a fucking loon. When throughout all of history, you get all these people, the aliens are coming. This you gotta put some kind of bank into it. I mean, one person, sure, you're probably fucking nuts. 100,000 people, maybe we should listen.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
what do your friends think of you believing in aliens?
Oh, they think I'm crazy anyway, because I have a lot of different views.
I
even
don't think you're crazy.
even my youngest daughter, who's 11, she's like, Mom, stop looking at this flat earth stuff. Stop looking at these alien things. Why do you look at these things? And she's 11. And of course, you know, at that age, sometimes they think she's like 11 going on 18, but she thinks she knows everything.
It's like I said, and I think, and your daughter's probably like that. And I'm gonna go because my son's 15. Now she's probably listening to, and I'm not singling the news out. I watch the news. I want my traffic report.
Mhm.
I love Caitlin Harvey. If you're listening, I watch Channel 7 weather because of you, Caitlin. But people are getting the and what you just, fuck. I don't even know. They're getting the news. They're like, "It's stupid." Of course, yeah, like that. But they're not listening to then. But then they hear the like, here's this. Yep, this is right. You get this fringe. It's like, here's where the UFOs are. Here's where this is. Oh, mom, dad, those people are fucking dumb. What does Joe Rogan know? Like that. It's like, okay. But that's how it's always been. Like when we were kids, like we did in Satanic Panic. Oh,
Mhm.
Dungeons and Dragons is evil because 900 people said it. The 100 people that said it's good, they're the ones to watch out for. So,
Have you ever have you ever seen something that you thought was odd? Either it was a person or a UFO looking thing. Have you ever experienced that before?
now here's the weird thing. To my knowledge, I've never seen anything that I can remember, but I have a lot of repressed memories because I had a really bad childhood. But I have a lot of reoccurring dreams. And I'll get into maybe further down the road, but they're the same thing. Now, if you have a dream, maybe you have that dream again in a few days. But these aren't about like a woman I'm trying to bone or something like that. These are like the same. And I mean, months on end, these same dreams. You don't have that. That's put in your brain. Oh, God, I got a pimple on top of my head. Fuck. That's like an implant almost. Did it come from an alien? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, like I've never seen anything, but I dream about things where it's kind of like, or sometimes I have that thing of like, happened. I saw this happen a while ago. So you have like almost like it feels like you're an implanted memory. Not like I need to be one of these wackadoos walking around with a fucking foil on my head, but no, I know exactly what you're saying. I've never seen anything, but up here in my brain, it's like there's things that are put in there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I do remember, I want to say it was maybe 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. We were driving back from Waterloo, Iowa. We had gone to I think we went to like Waterloo, Iowa, we went to Des Moines, something. We were driving on the way back. It was like a mini staycation type of thing. Just hitting a couple water parks and whatnot. We were driving home and it was late. And I want to say we were somewhere in Iowa and we were driving back and I'm looking up and I, saw something really bright in the sky. And I thought, boy, that star looks really, really low. So we're all kind of like looking out the window and I know my husband and I both saw it, and I think that Amanda did too. And I don't recall if the other girls were in the car or not, or if they were following behind us. But I remember seeing it like was super bright, and it seemed too low to be a star, and then it just darted and was gone. Like it was like there, and then darted and gone, and it was gone. It was to me way too high to be like a drone. I would expect that, if lower, if it was a drone or something. But it was it was high, but it wasn't like high up where the stars would be. But it was definitely pretty interesting. I remember I for some reason, and now I'm trying to remember whether or not it showed up again and darted again, but I don't think so. I think it was just the one time we were watching it and it darted. But I remember my husband and I talking about that on the way home, just like, well, what do you believe? Do you believe that there's something else, out there? And both of us have, truly think that we're definitely not alone here. Um, I think there's things here. I don't necessarily know whether or not they're coming from outer space or if they're just flying in from other areas. Are they coming from the ocean? Or are they coming from underground? Are they coming from Antarctica where they won't let us fly and they won't let us visit and, and you can't get past the ice wall? You just don't know.
Well, coming from underground would be Kaiju or Kong. I'm sticking with Kong as in I don't buy into the flat Earth thing, but if there's a hollow Earth, that's where Kong lives. We got to respect Kong. But I mean, the other thing too, like the the inspiration has to come from somewhere. I'm a comic book nerd, so like let me put it this way: the X-Men. Everybody loves the X-Men. Wolverine. Those were, and if you think I'm making this up, just do your research. That was a euphemism for homosexuality in the 60s. That's where that came from. Spider-Man, who can't relate to Spider-Man? You're a fucking nerd. You get these powers. Now you gotta hide. You're Batman. You could be Batman. You just need $1 billion and you could be Batman. He had no powers. Training, money. They're all Superman is he was originally created. He's like the ultimate Jewish guy and he's beating up Nazis. You can do all this. Why did all at once, especially in the 50s, all at once there's all these. I mean, go back, look at Back to the Future when George McFly and all this, all these aliens. Where did it come from? Not you're not going to tell me once again before the World Wide Web. Some guy drew a fucking circle on a piece of paper and went, "That's a spaceship," and all at once it blew up worldwide. No, it doesn't fucking happen like that. It has to come from somewhere, and
Yeah.
that somewhere is reality.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I like the comedy, uh, I guess it's a horror sci-fi comedy, Slither. Have you seen that?
Oh, many times my son hates it, but yes, I've seen it with a great Michael Rooker.
I absolutely love that movie. And we watched that. Well, I think all of our daughters have watched that movie, but my youngest, after watching the movie, she kept going around the house going, Darla, I love you, Darla. When he was like all gooey and nasty and oh, it was such a cool movie. But
I'm a big Mars Attacks fan, and my plan is to take Mars Attacks. That's the alien. Now over here we get to Catholic priest. Alien versus Predator 3. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, see, Mars Attacks. Those were bubblegum cards. I got a big giant. I'd leave, but it looks stupid. I got a big giant fucking bust of the Martian. That's the 50s.
yeah,
Once again, you have to be inspired by something. I mean, that's to me, that's the most, excuse me, soundproof I can give you because you don't just come like every alien in the with the exception of ET, every alien's like fucking gray with these big old eyes, kind of like my sunglasses. Where'd you get that from? This isn't the World Wide Web anymore, where one person posts it and
Yeah.
everybody sees it. It just it didn't happen like that. It's like I said, I don't believe they're all out to kill us. I don't believe any of them are out to kill us. I don't believe
No.
they're necessarily friendly. I think they're out there. This galaxy is it's massive, you know, and do you really if you can only think that we as human beings, we're the only people in this all these planets, all this galaxy, and that we're the only ones, we gotta be narcissistic as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. To think that we're the only ones. It's funny. It seems like people had this fear of aliens, like they're going to come down, they're going to probe you, they're going to steal all our stuff, and then you had this movie E.T. that came out in 1982, where all of a sudden, he's this cuddly creature that you can trust with your children,
Eats
and
Reese's Pieces.
yeah, and it was such a change from the movies in the past, unless they were silly movies, where the aliens came and they're, making fun and being goofy. But
Space Invaders.
yeah, like the first one that was really, supposed to be like, oh, we're taking him into our house and we got to hide him from mom, but then we're going to let mom know later. And then mom's going to, be helping. It's just, you went from, you know, them coming down to steal your resources and probe you to something cuddly.
Yeah, it's so weird how it works. Cause yeah, he's got like the magic finger and he goes, I love you, Elliot, and all that. Or Alf. Look at Alf on
Alf.
TV. You know, he's this cute
Yeah.
puppet who's an Alf. I'm sorry. He predicted eating cats in the 80s. That's supposedly going on now. I don't believe this. But you know, Alf. And you have cute aliens, and then you have War of the Worlds, where they're killing us and they're destroyed by bacteria. You have V, Independence Day, which was, you know, that set the Independence Day, like basically took V and War of the Worlds, you know, it combined this stuff and then became such a huge hit. Fire in the Sky, you know, you have because there's more money to be made with the aliens coming and we got to band together and we got to stop 'em. There's, you know, it's America, it's patriotic. It's just, there's more money in that than, well, then again, ET made a lot of money, but you know, it just makes more sense to make a movie like that.
Yeah. Um, I think the very first alien movie I remember was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I don't know if we had it on VHS or something at one point because I for some reason remember watching it like a lot. But that movie is so classic, with the do 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 do,
How
that
about
everybody when they hear that they instantly think of that movie. I mean, but I thought it was a pretty well put together movie.
how about
Um,
Cocoon with Wilford Brimley? Wilford Brimley, who said she wanted the D, I gave her diabetes, you know, because that Wilford Brimley, who was 50, the same age as J Lo. It's really scary how that works. But yeah, you had like Close Encounters, they were nice, and we played the fucking synthesizer pianos, and then you know, Cocoon. Oh, they take care of all the old people, and it all, and that's what I really believe. Like, why would if an alien can fly here?
yeah,
Its technology is light years ahead of us. Why would it come here to kill us? We're nothing to them. We're fucking ants.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, what do they gain? We're like I said in the beginning, in this whole galaxy, we're probably the bottom of the barrel. We have trailer parks for Christ's sakes.
Yeah. um, what do your friends think about aliens? Do you have anybody
I
that's
don't have any friends. And the few I do either think they're real or they're fucking nutbags that think they're going to kill all of us. So I don't know. All I know is one piece of trivia I'll give everyone. In the movie Independence Day, the girl that holds up the sign before the thing beams on her, that was the
Yeah.
art student in Saved by the Bell, the college years. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Well, that's the truth. I just watched that the other day where Will Smith saves Earth. Independence Day 2 shit, but Will Smith shit too. But Independence Day, good movie. Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends, and maybe because I'm a fucking wackadoo. I don't know, but I mean, I believe in aliens. My wife makes fun of me. My kid doesn't give two shits if it's not a video game. So I don't know if my dogs believe in it or not. They're my best friends, so they don't talk to. I can't understand what they say. Now, what does your family think? Being put me on the spot. What does your family and friends think of this?
I don't, I don't know if I've really talked too much about aliens with some of them. I know that I always bring up different subjects and I kind of get the, oh, here's Gina going, with her conspiracy theories. So, um, I don't know. I always bring up different, things like, well, did you hear this or did you hear that? And they're like, oh no, here we go again. But no, I think that some of the people that I, converse with on a regular basis probably think the same way we do, that we're definitely not here alone. I mean, you can't have people also all over the world that have had different sightings where mass amounts of people have seen things that were completely unexplained. And when I was doing a little bit of research, I pulled up like some different alien sightings that like were old. I was like, I want to know something that's not Roswell. I want to know something that either predates that or whatever. And there was one that I found, and it didn't have a lot of information, but evidently in 1897 in Aurora, Texas, there was and townspeople had saw some type of aircraft and it plummeted to the ground and they pulled out the pilot, or the pilot was there with the wreckage, and they knew it wasn't human, but they buried it in their cemetery there in the town, just like, I guess, well, we're just, we're going to bury this being. And but they knew that it wasn't from this world. They just, oh, well, it's a life, so we're going to bury it. And I thought, and I didn't find much more information other than, it was Aurora, Texas, the late 1800s, and they just buried him. There was another one that was like a little bit after the Roswell. It was in Florence, Italy. There was a big soccer game at one of these large stadiums in Florence. And the people in the stands saw what looked like to be silver cigar-shaped cylinders that kind of sped, like, I guess they were pretty fast, came down by the stadium or over the stadium, and then darted away. And they were all evidently, like, everybody went silent in the entire stadium. Now, you can't have a whole stadium of people who go silent when something odd like that happens, like in, 1954. I mean, it was a few years after the Roswell, but it seemed like, how can you have that many people that saw something and then for everyone to say, oh, there's nothing here. And then they wait till the year 2000 to 2020, before they release some, video saying, oh yeah, we have these videos that we saw of some, unidentified flying objects from these Navy pilots. And, I know Obama let some things go. I think the Pentagon had some program going on. I want to say maybe it was shortly after Obama talked about some of the different things. It was like from 2007 to like 2012. They had some type of program where they were researching these aerial, phenomenons. And they discontinued the program because they said that they could use spending in other areas. It really wasn't, worth researching. They're researching it. They're spending lots of money on it. They're just earmarking it as something else. But they said they discontinued the program and aren't doing anything anymore, which I find it hard to believe that we don't have programs that we're funding that are looking for extraterrestrial. I mean, they have to be.
I've got to say clearly, this is one we agree on. We both believe that there's other life forms out there. So before we go, I want to hit you with this because I picked quite a few. Next week's episode. What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about?
It's your turn next week.
I don't know.
Putting her on the spot, fans. Putting her on the spot.
I'm not quite sure. How about what about we'll keep kind of in the line of the aliens and just unexplained phenomenon, ghosts, different things like that. Do you believe?
No.
Let's do that.
But I did just go to a ghost thing with this guy named Dustin something. He's from the Ghost Hunters. And we went to the show where he explained it. I'll say this. I'm going to contact him because I got his phone number. Can't promise anything. But after watching this, because I'm one of them guys, I'll be honest with you, I'm taking my glasses. Crickety walls, the floor's settling. I'm that guy. Now, I watched this guy. We went to the ghost show, and my wife's into that. We go to this show, and he's showing this stuff and all that. And this was me. This was me in the beginning. I'm going to go through sec. So by the end of the show, it's kind of like, there could be something here. Now, I'm going to challenge you this.
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity boring. Now, I want you to make me a believer next week. Because I think you're prettier than Agent Scully. I'll say that. I'm way hotter than fucking Mulder. But I want you to prove to me that ghosts are real. Can you do that?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to find that out next week. I have anything else left to say. Do you?
Nope. That's it.
Welcome to Earth. That's what I call a close encounter.